Hey everyone! So I'm just going to wait a couple minutes and see if anyone is going to pop on with us tonight. I just got a new computer and I can't figure it out. I was trying to get it to work so I could do this video, but that didn't happen today. Hi, Mom! I'm just waiting to see if anybody else is going to pop on here. So, I love that you're on here, though. Thank you. I guess you're on here, so I could talk to you about it. I was trying to get the computer to work, the computer that I got from you, and it didn't have like Google Chrome, and for some reason it wouldn't let me go live on my Facebook through Safari. I just had this problem the other day, and thank you. I feel good. I got myself ready today, so, which was nice, and it was a relaxing day. How was your day? Okay, guys, so I'm going to get right to it, even if people pop on throughout this video. So don't mind my glare here. I'm going to try to see if I can get this away. Glad you had a relaxing day, Mom. Okay, let's see if this... Okay, that's better. There's not as much of a glare. Mom, is that better? My computer will be here, so if I do this, don't mind me. Okay, so I created this free 3-day challenge for mothers, and it was tailored to moms in regards to giving yourself permission. The boundaries and values is day 2, and then day 3 is the ability to receive. So I created a couple posts this week and to see if anybody else would come on to here. Oh, somebody else popped on, but I don't know who's here. So make sure you say hi. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on. So today, this challenge is all about the selfless mom going to self-care and implementing self-care into her life and how to do this. So first off, I want to introduce myself. My name is Cara Wray, and I'm a mindset coach for mothers who are ready to strip the mom guilt and own ambition in business and family life. So this challenge, how do I continue with this? So first off, I just want to say that I'm really glad that you said yes to yourself to come on to this training. For those who are going to pop on now, those who are going to pop on later, those who are catching the replay, please make sure you hashtag replay and let me know so I can give you some love and I can check in with you and see how you're doing with these challenges. And bear with me too, guys. This is the first big training that I've done and challenge, and I'm super excited about it, but I bet you I might have a couple little stutters, and that's okay. So first off, I wanted to get into here about the things that you need for this, because we're going to go through an exercise today. So in here, I asked you to bring a journal. So I brought this journal, and it's convenient because it says Mama, just because this allows you the opportunity to write notes. I asked that you also bring a blank piece of paper. I have one right here, actually. So a blank piece of paper, because we're going to be doing an exercise here shortly, and then a pen or a pencil, whatever you prefer, and a really open mind to this, you guys. Plus, because it's the evening and we came to visit my mother-in-law, she made me a coffee. So I'm going to drink this coffee. So please engage in this too. Ask questions if you want. Comment on it. I would love to hear your feedback through this. So, we're just going to get right to it. So I just want to thank everyone for being a part of this community, a part of this group. And, creating this challenge, this came from the heart. This came from the soul. This came from experience. And when I was writing it, I was laughing with myself because I could already hear, moms making excuses of why they didn't show up, why they didn't come on, that they didn't have enough time, that their kids were monopolizing all their time, that basically that they weren't making it a priority. I'll get to it later. I need to make sure with my significant other that I can come on here or that they're too tired. So now I'm going to get into this, and I'm just going to say that if you're wanting to move forward in your life and you're wanting to implement self-care, and you're choosing not to do these things, you're declaring to the universe that you don't have enough time for yourself, and the universe is making it so that you don't have time for you. So it's going to make you busy with your kids. Your kids are going to ask you millions of questions, which they normally do, but it's going to be at the extreme. You're going to go out, you're going to go get groceries, you're going to get stuck at the grocery store, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people in line or getting in your way or bumping your cart, and it's going to put as much as it can in your way to stop you from doing the other things that you want to do. So as we continue here, hi Autumn, how are you? So nice to see you. So continuing, so there's a big picture here, you guys, and I ask you to be as open-minded as you possibly can, and this is going to help with everything. So in regards to your ability to give yourself permission for your boundaries and values and the ability to receive. Oh, you're giving me so much love. You're making me blush. Thanks, Autumn. So, some of you might come on this video and say, yeah, okay, girlfriend, I already know all this. I know what you're talking about. Or you don't understand what I'm talking about. And so I wanted to come on here and say that I have been here. I've been to the point where I never gave myself permission. I've been to the point where I didn't honor my boundaries and values. And I've been to the point where I didn't have the ability to receive because I was closed off. And I got to the point where I was stressed out, I was depleted, I was angry, I was depressed, and it literally physically hurt me to get out of bed. Physically hurt me. You could clarify, you could ask my husband, he will say it did. I always complained about my feet, and I didn't have a positive, when I was getting out of bed in the morning, I wasn't being positive. I was just starting it off in a negative way. And I was getting stressed out that I couldn't control these situations, and it literally was just a wheel. And yeah, we could talk about hamster wheels, but so, then I made this big decision sorry about that noise, guys. So then I knew at some point in my life that my life needed to change, that I needed to change my perspective, that I needed to change something for myself and, take care of myself for my family, and not just for my family, but for myself. But if I was going to show up better for me and I was going to show up for me, I was going to show up in a better space for them. I'm going to read these comments. So this topic is so important. Thank you so much for sharing on this and giving the massive permission to receive. Yes, we're gonna get so much deeper into this because it's incredibly important. So then once I decided to slowly start to shift my mindset, to pick up books again, to invest in myself, which came a little bit further down the road, but it did make a huge difference. I realized that everything that I had currently was more than enough. And if I was complaining about my family or what they did or what they didn't do and how, oh, poor me and woe is me, and I was playing this woe is me game all the time, that I finally realized that my family was doing the best that they possibly could. Now, we're going to get more into that about not being able to read your mind and everything, and we're going to get more deep into a few other stories that I want to share with you guys so that I can relate to you guys, and then at the end here I'll give you guys a challenge to walk away with. So the first thing that I want to do is I actually did something very similar with my coach. So I brought my what I did with her here, and it's an exercise wheel. So this is why I need you to have your blank piece of paper. So this is where you're going to draw. I want you to draw 2 big circles. I'll do it with you guys. So you'll do 2 big circles, and in there I want you to write, I have it written down here, so you're going to kind of make little triangles in here. So I'll show you here. It's going to be kind of like a pie. Well, it basically kind of does look like a pie. So it's going to look like this, and in here I want you to write, so you're going to write spirituality. So this is kind of diving deeper into your sense of purpose and also in your belief system. So what do you believe in? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Buddha? Do you believe in the universe? What do you believe in? And and kind of where you sit on the scale. So the scale is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, that you're really lacking in this, and then 10 means that you're fulfilled and it's there. So like I said, the 1 thing's going to be spirit. Then you're going to write down your sleep. How's your sleep? Are you getting enough sleep at night? Because that's extremely important. Are you working late hours, getting up early in the morning, thinking that you can do it all? Because this will all compile itself into how you get into a burnout stage. Sorry, I was just putting it on mute here. So then I want you to write down nutrition. So this also has to do with like your health and fitness. And then I want you to get into your relationships. This is going to be another section. So this has to do your relationships with friends, families, your spouse, how you feel your relationships are in your life. If you feel like you're disconnected, if you feel like you're connected, if you feel like it's lacking something, if you're arguing, or if you feel like you're losing all your friends, this has to do with your relationship and how you feel with it. Then you're going to go into your financials. So this has to do with your career and how much money you're making. So are you fulfilled and completely stoked about the job that you're in? Are you upset about where you're at? Are you wishing that you had, what's the word I'm looking for? A raise, or I can't pinpoint the word right now. But it has to do with where you're sitting at work, in your business, whether you own your own business or you are in the corporate world, wherever you are, this is what it comes down to. So are you happy with the amount of money you're making? Are you wanting to level up in this area? So then the next one's going to be creativity. So this has to do with your environment, you know, what you do with your family, if you go on outings, so like your recreation, that's what I'm looking for. So my kids, like in the winter, we get extremely, I wouldn't say busy. We do have busy lives, but they're fun. My stepson plays hockey, and he's going to be going up in a level this year. And my stepdaughter, she's in gymnastics. And then Elena last year, so our youngest, she was in swimming. So we were pretty busy, but we loved doing it. You know, going to Jackson's hockey games were great. So then one of the last pieces here is going to be your self-care. Your self-care, and then I want one other for you to write down. We're gonna do a self-development. There we go. So your chart should look similar to this, and it's going to have all these different points on here. So I got an example, and you can find all these online too. Like there's tons of different ones, guys. But this one is called My Balance Wheel, and this one I had found actually on Pinterest, and I love it, guys. And I follow this one. This one is one that I fell in love with because it really hits all the pinpoints for me. And so then what I want you to do is, I want you on the other side, you're gonna do 10 circles. So I learned this from my business coach Autumn. She popped on here, you guys, so giving her the credit for this one. So you do the 10 circles, and then in those areas you're gonna mark down from 1 to 10 where you're feeling in that area, and then you're gonna connect the dots so that we can look at what areas that you feel like you're lacking, so that you can work on those and get those to a freaking 10, because they should be at a 10. You deserve them to be at a freaking 10. Please love this if you can relate to that, because I want my entire life to feel like a 10. So, you know, continuing here, I'm going to show you mine. So just so you can relate, so that I can show you. But so this is what I worked with my business coach on. So this was all the areas here, and then on here, do you see how it's kind of like a little graph here, and then we can figure out where we're working on. So this was when I first started with my coach. And you know, actually after this, probably tomorrow morning, I'll share a picture of where I was at and where I am now, and what we've been focusing on, what we've been working on, so you can see that there is a difference when you start applying these things. Now, I am moving all of my papers already. Okay, so I want to go into it here, guys, and I want to give you some more information about me. So, you know, okay. So I just want to give you some more information about me and why this challenge was created. So, I have 2 beautiful stepchildren, and they're the ages of 10 and 7. I had a moment there, 10 and 7. And I have a daughter, a 1-year-old daughter, and she just started to learn to walk yesterday, guys, which is so exciting. But I'm going to dive a little bit deeper as to where this came from, where I came from, where I worked on, so that you guys can relate a little bit, because you all are moms here. You're busy, you have businesses, extracurricular things, and you also have babies. So going back about a year, because my daughter is 14 months. So about 2 months after having my daughter, I struggled really bad with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And however, the entire time I felt a massive amount of overwhelm. I was tired, I was drained, and I literally thought that I could handle it all. I thought I could handle the world. And my husband also worked at a town, so this stuff gets a little emotional, but it's real. And I honestly felt like I was drowning. I had never been in a point like that in my life where I felt like I wasn't in control. So, you know, when I was on my own, I was extremely grateful for my husband working out of town, okay? First, I was extremely grateful because he provides for our family in ways that I couldn't thank him enough. And so when I was going through postpartum depression, I wasn't able to breastfeed. I was at the beginning, and then everything hit really hard, and I woke up one day and it literally felt like I was hit by a train. And I remember not being able to breastfeed, and that feeling like it was the tipping point to where I felt deeper. It destroyed me watching anybody give her a bottle. I felt like my body had failed me, and I felt like I had failed as a mother, because there's all these stigmas that, you know, breast is best. And I remember one day going into the doctor because I finally made this decision that, well, actually I made this decision because my stepdaughter had come out that day. My stepdaughter had come out that day, and this was probably around 4 o'clock, and my husband is out of town, and she said, "Are you okay? You've been crying all day." And I hadn't even realized that I had been crying all day, but she did. And I was yelling, I was screaming, I was getting angry at my baby, I was getting angry at the kids. Nothing was okay. I was yelling at my husband, and it just got to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore. And it took a lot out of me, to the point where I was sitting in the corner crying for hours, really, because I felt so disconnected, and I felt disconnected from everything in my life. And I knew that it wasn't that day, but shortly after, I knew that this wasn't okay, and that this is not where I wanted to be. And so I remember messaging a friend of mine, and she said that this is what, you know, I can relate to this. You know, she worked in the hospital, and she said that she's seen the signs of these things before, and she said that there is no shame in going and getting help. And so I picked myself up the one day, got the kids ready to go, and we went to the doctor. And I had just been at the doctor a week before, and so I remember her looking at me and saying, "Holy shit, are you okay?" I had a hat on my head, I looked like I hadn't showered in a week, and I just started crying. And she said, "Are you ready to, like, do you think you need to be on medication?" And she asked me everything that was going on, if there was anger, if there was depression, if there was frustration, if I was, you know, screaming, if I felt like I had no control, you know, if I had angry thoughts. And so I was just honest with her and said, you know, I want to be able to handle this all on my own, but I know that I need some help, and I do. So I remember that day, so she had called in another doctor, and he had talked to me about, the stigma in regards to breast is best. And he said, he's like, you're a mom. He said, I don't believe in breast is best. He said, of course, I believe it's important for a child to get these antibodies from their mom. But at the end of the day, it's important for you to take care of you. And it's important to feed your child. And if that means that they're going to be bottle fed, if that means that they're going to be fed from formula, then you're feeding your child and you're still providing and you're still a mom. You're still making sure your child is fed. And I remember just breaking down in tears, guys. I just cried because finally someone understood, and finally someone didn't make me feel like I was any less than a mom. Didn't make me feel that I wasn't good enough. And so I chose to go on medication. And then that's when it got even more real. I never understood what somebody said when they said that they felt numb after taking depression medication, until I took medication. And I remember looking at my child and saying, I should love you. And I know that I love you, but I don't feel it. And I remember being so terrified. I picked up the phone and I called my dad. And I said, this is how I feel. I'm not comfortable being alone with my child. I want to make sure, can you please come here? And he did, but he also clarified me on everything and said, this is normal. Your body has to go through a balance phase, and sometimes it takes an adjustment to get through medication. And so I'm very grateful for the fact that I had a very supportive family through everything. Some of my family didn't understand everything that was going on, and I still wasn't at the spot in my life where I wanted to talk about everything. Sorry, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit, but at that point, just kind of a little bit after, when everything started to get better, I was talking to other moms, and other moms were struggling with postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, not being able to breastfeed, feeling like they were comparing themselves, feeling like they weren't taking care of themselves, that they felt like they constantly had to focus everything on their children and nothing on themselves, which was leaving them depleted, stressed, angry, frustrated, and everything that we're talking about. And I said, why am I not taking care of myself? Why am I not going out with my girlfriends? Why am I not spending more time with my family? Why am I not taking care of me? I don't understand why I'm not taking care of me. And as I kept thinking about everything, I said to, I remember talking to my mom, actually. I said to my mom, there's got to be more moms out there that aren't taking care of themselves, that are going through these things, maybe don't even know that they're going through these things, feel like they don't have a support system. They want the support system. They want the opportunity to talk. They want the opportunity to grow, and they want to learn, and they want to take themselves further. And I also knew that yes, I'm a mom, but I didn't want to just be labeled a mom. I want to be a role model. Not just a motherly role model, but in all aspects of life. I want a completely strong, unwavering love with my husband. I want to help teach my children grow up to be respectable adults. I want a home, a life that is fulfilling and abundant. And that didn't just seem to me of wanting to sit home with my kids, or just simply like, oh, she's a mom. Well, no, I am a badass mom, but I am also, hi Stasia, how are you? So I am a badass mom, but at the same time, I wanted my kids to know that they can be more than just a parent, and other moms to know that they aren't just a mom, and that they can have a successful business, they can have a successful marriage, they can have that successful and abundant life that they've always wanted. So, then after I went through this, I had started a multi-level marketing business. So, things such as Shakeology, doTERRA, Tiber River, all those different things. How are you, Stasia? It's nice thanks for popping on. I really appreciate it. And I'm super excited to talk to you tomorrow too. So, so this was when I decided to invest in myself in that manner, and I started to have a business on the side to have a little more income while I was on maternity leave with my family. And I knew that I just wanted more, that I was craving more, that I wanted to help women, and that I wanted more out of life. And I did want the ability to stay home, and that's what my husband wanted too, but I wanted more of an impact, and I couldn't figure that out. I remember sitting there watching my mom when I was a kid, and she was a business coach, and I would listen to her, and she would say, shh, I have a call going on. We just need to be quiet for an hour. You can listen, we can turn on the TV, or you can go play in your room. And I would just listen to her, and I would listen to her brainstorm and, help men and women create abundant lives for themselves, and just allow them to realize that they had this power all within them. So then I got to a point where I had been watching a business coach for a while, and I knew, I just had this gut feeling that I wanted to work with her. Hands down, I wanted to work with her. And so I remember messaging her and just saying, hey, I'm interested in working with you. I want to know more. Can we talk? Can we figure this out? Can we get this going? And I wanted to invest in myself because I wanted to take myself to that next level. And so I wanted to teach myself that it was okay to say yes to myself, that it was okay to put myself first. And I knew that I knew somewhat of what to do, but I also wanted to be accountable for myself, but also somebody else, because I knew that I would launch myself 1,000 times further when I was accountable to somebody else. And so through this, I discussed with my husband about investing in myself, and he did not understand what it was. And I was like, I don't know how to explain it to you, but I know that this is right. And I know, and I feel it in my gut that this is right. And he said, if you feel like it is, then I 100% support you. And I was blown away, and I just started bawling. And I remember him saying, I know you're going to grow, and I know you're going to move through things, and this is what you want to do, but please don't grow out of me. And I knew at that moment that I needed to reassure my husband that I wasn't growing out of him. I wanted to love him more. I wanted to be with him more. I wanted to show up for him with all this energy, and show up for our kids, and want to go out on dates with him, and want to do all these other things with him. And so I explained to them that this wasn't me growing out of him. This was me growing into me, and loving me, and saying yes to me, and learning how to give myself permission to just be me, and to take a step back, to sit down and drink a cup of coffee while my kids run around and play, to investing in myself and creating a business and asking for me time, going out and doing things, picking up a book again, journaling, all these things. I needed to say yes to myself again. Sorry, there is a comment here, right? So excited I caught it live. Love being in your energy. Oh, thanks, love. You're gonna make me blush. Autumn did the same thing earlier. I appreciate it. Thank you. So once I committed to saying yes to myself, that was a game changer, guys. A complete game changer. And I remember watching the video of myself a while back when I didn't really know what to do in business. I didn't really know how to take care of myself. It wasn't actually that I didn't know how to take care of myself. What I didn't know is I didn't know how to give myself permission to just be. To give myself permission to love the hell out of me, who I am, and to not compare myself to other people, and to give myself permission to work things out. For some reason I got caught up in this one phase where I threw out lists because I read this book and it told me that lists were bad. So I listened to it. Why did I listen to that? Maybe it might be bad for somebody else, but it was not bad for me. If anything, they did wonders for me. So I brought that back into my life, and I created lists, because then I was able to look at those things, and I was able to prioritize those things and what was most important for me to get done, and what could wait a couple days or a week or a month. It just helped me to sift through all those things. And then I started reading again, and I had loved reading when I was a kid. Right, Stasia, that book's just so bad. I won't say what it is, because some people really do love lists, and I honor you if that is your thing, but I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, it is not my thing. And I am totally a list person. Now, I'm not a person who's going to give myself a list of 50 things, because I don't put that much on my plate. But if I know that I want to get stuff done, I usually put the stuff that is kind of the easiest to shoo away, and I take those down, and then I have the harder things that might take a little bit more time at the bottom, so that I know throughout my day, okay, I'm going to need this time. Well, maybe I need to monopolize nap time to do this certain thing. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but in regards to saying yes to yourself and giving yourself permission to just be you and to embrace yourself and to not apologize for who you are going to up level in your life, and you're going to watch things change, and people will change, life will change, and that is okay. You're going to be tested. I believe in the universe. So I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I believe that the universe has a path for you. And if you just lean into loving and trusting into that, it'll launch you in some pretty cool things. So what do you say, Stassia? Yes, I feel like that part is so important. Guilty AF about making a list longer than my day. Yeah, hands down. I used to be the person who made them longer than my day, and I would overwhelm myself, and I would feel like I'd have to get everything done in that day, and that just, it ended up stressing me out more than it was being positive. So now, like I was saying, I take that list and I go through everything that I wanted to accomplish during that day, and I figure out how much time that's going to take me, or if it's going to take me a couple days, and I make sure that I know this and I'm aware of this, and I give myself the space to just say, okay, I might not have got all of this done today, but I got like 3/4 of it done today, so heck yeah. And then I still celebrate the stuff that I did get done. So in regards to saying yes to yourself, and putting yourself in that shift and deciding that yes, I deserve to go out and get myself a coffee, I deserve to go out and treat myself, and I deserve to have a nice relaxing bubble bath. Changing that and saying yes to yourself is huge. It also is a great thing to say no. So there's also things like, we're going to talk more about that tomorrow in regards to saying no and those healthy boundaries and values, and how saying no is not a bad thing. It is important. There's another coach whom I love. Her name's Olivia Celine, by the way. And she talks about this energy bubble. So I have to give her credit for this because this is magnificent. And she talks about this energy bubble and all this energy inside. And she talks about like the colors that you think that it is. And when she talked about that, I was like, my color is pink, hands down. It's a pink fluffy cloud. And this cloud is your energy. So it's your positive energy. It's what you feel. And then, so say you're not saying yes to yourself, you're saying no to yourself, and then somebody else is telling you, well, can you come and do this for me? Can we do this, 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 and this? And you say yes. That is puncturing a hole in your bubble, which sucks. And then that energy falls out, and then you wonder why you feel depleted. Well, you haven't said yes to you. You haven't protected yourself. So I know people talk about these energy bubbles, and I didn't really not believe in them, but really care about mine until I started saying yes and saying no, and turning to self-care and reading self-development and journaling and doing these things that I felt good for myself, that was pushing me further. When I would sit down and journal, I would journal about things that I was struggling with, or things that I was celebrating. And if I was struggling with something, I was able to work it out on paper. I really was able to let it go, to work it out, write it out, and let it go. And that's the biggest thing, that if you're going to give yourself self-care and you're going to work through things, there's going to be things, you guys, that you're going to have to learn to let go. And you're going to have to say, you know what? I processed. Now I'm going to understand what so you're going to take in this subject. So say, for example, this weekend was filled with a lot of energy release, and there was a lot of things I needed to process and feel, because I kept pushing them aside, and then I knew that I needed to let them go, and actually let them go, and allow them not to be events that come back into my life. And we're going to work on that one too, more in regards to your boundaries and also in receiving. But at the end of the day, guys, I knew that I needed to take care of me. And I've been talking to you moms on here, and you guys have all said that you haven't been taking care of yourselves and that you need to implement self-care. And this training is all about giving yourself permission, and this challenge is for you to say yes to you and to do something for you. And in a little bit here, I'm going to give you guys a challenge that you can take away with this. So when you do say yes to yourself, when you do say yes to taking care of yourself, you're going to start making some shifts. I love this so much. You're definitely a pink cloud. I feel like I'm a pink cloud. Like everything lately now is pink. I keep picking up these cute little pink notebooks, these cute little pink pens, and I have that other awesome, I'm going to go through that too, but I got a pink water bottle here, like pink everything. I love pink. So when you step into taking care of yourself, you start believing in yourself. You start owning your self-worth. You start putting yourself first. Because moms, I'm going to be super real with you. I took a training a while back, and it was all about kids and how they perceive love, how they refill their own cup, and they actually fill their own cup by your energy. They need, someone to tell them that they love them. They need someone to give them like a pat on the back or a hug. They need to be tucked into bed at night, sang a song at night. That is how they fill their cup. They don't fill it on their own because they don't know how. So to you moms who are in this group, if you're not taking care of you, if you are not taking care of you, what do you think is happening to your kids? You don't have the energy to give to your kids. What's going to happen? And I saw that starting in my life where I didn't have enough energy to give to my kids, and they started getting angry, and they started getting frustrated, and they started thinking that we didn't love them anymore, and that they just became really upset, and they were starting to act out in ways that I couldn't understand. And until I opened myself up to realize this and to get this training and to realize that, wow, I didn't understand that my kids needed me to fill my own cup to fill theirs. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they didn't have the ability to do that. And that's okay. They grow into that. But to be aware that your children feed off of your energy and they take your energy, that means you want to overflow your cup. Like actually, I was talking to Stasia about this, and she was the one that came up with like overflowing in your saucer and having it overflowing on that. And that was like the coolest thing I'd ever heard someone talk about. And girl, that's awesome. Okay, what did you say here, Stasia? Yes. Talk all about the little humans cups. Yes. Dude, I know that for me, if I'm not bathing every day, I have a hard time remembering to do the same for my kids. Yep. Yes. So it's kind of like how you're building, what's the word that I'm saying? I'm trying to think of, I'm totally blanking on this word. However, you want kids to have certain things in the day. So if they wake up in the morning, if you're not making your bed, why are your kids going to want to make your bed? I had to have this discussion with my husband. So I make our bed every morning. And it teaches our kids that if we're doing it, they're doing it. We're doing it all together as a family. It's not just we're making them do something. We're doing it all together as a family. It's just like helping out with chores in the house. You know, my son loves to feed the dogs. So he does every morning, and he makes sure they have water. And what do? We feed the kids. He's learning from us. He's learning that, me feeding the dogs, me doing all these things is actually showing love. I just had this conversation with him too, where he started talking about all these different changes that were happening in our home and how we all seemed a lot more positive, and that he loved that the house was clean, and that he had kind of like not a schedule, but he had things to do, and he knew when he had to do them, and he had support, and he had people to talk to. And he just said, like, I asked him, well, where does this come from? He said, well, it comes from a place of love. I said, yeah, it does. And then he started going on. I said, well, if you respect someone, if you love someone, if someone's showing you these things and doing these things with you, and I said, what does that mean? He said, well, that I'm loved. And then he said, and I love you. Which is huge, because my stepson hasn't said that to anyone, not even his dad and not even his mom. And it took me a moment to realize that I am filling his cup, and I am doing an amazing freaking job, even if I don't think I am. And that was the reassurance that I needed from my stepson, from the universe, that, you know what, mama, you are kicking ass. This boy went from a boy who his parents went through a divorce, and he didn't know how to talk to anybody or what to do, to now being this open, vulnerable boy who loves himself and loves others and loves his sister, and shows it even with his baby sister. And it is amazing, because sometimes I always thought, well, am I being too hard on my kids? Am I not? Am I being present enough? And I've realized now I am being present enough and I am taking care of myself, which in order is showing him to do the same for himself and our family. So the little things that you do and self-care for you is going to be huge for yourself, for your family, and it is also going to be amazing for your business, because if you're showing up for you and you're showing up for your family, you're damn right you're showing up for your business, and you're showing up at a better level because you're taking care of you. You're happy. You're not being pricked by all of these anger, frustration, overwhelm, because you'll know yourself. You'll know your limits. And self-care is huge. And I don't know why at one point in my life where I pushed that to the side, and it's still a learning process. Self-development, everything like that is all a learning process. And there's going to be stuff that you take and some stuff that you leave. But I really hope that the one thing that you do take from this video is about your kids and about you and about taking care of you, because you want to show up for them. And I know you do. And I know that you love your kids and you want to be there for them. But you got to show up for you. You got to show up for you to show up for them. I went on another tangent here, but I feel this like deep to my freaking core. So, okay. I've gone into stories about myself and why this is so important to me and why I thought this was important to you moms, because I questioned you guys. I asked you guys, and I asked, what do you need in your life? What do you think that you're lacking? And you said that you were lacking not stability, but you were lacking some boundaries. You were lacking the ability to give yourself permission to take care of yourself, to go buy something for yourself, to love on yourself. You were lacking this. And then in other areas, you were starting to feel depleted and stressed and overwhelmed. And I'm going to tell you, if you say yes to taking care of you, it's going to do wonders for you guys. So I'm going to go start. So I'm going to talk about the first challenge that I have for you guys, which is, and I'm going to kind of go through a couple things that I do so you can understand what I do every day. And still sometimes I give myself a break if I'm not feeling it that day. So my first challenge for you mamas is to set 30 minutes a day aside for yourself. Now, this 30 minutes a day can be whatever you feel called to do, whether that is reading a book, which I do every day. This is the book that I'm reading right now, which I highly recommend. It's called You Are Badass. And mamas, you are badass. So read that. It's good. So self-development. This is self-development. Now, I love reading like romantic novels. Those are cool too, whatever you feel called to. But self-development, listening to a podcast, going out for a walk for 30 minutes while listening to something, or if you just love going out in the morning and going for a walk and listening to everything around you. Our block is so quiet in the morning that I love getting up in the morning in that fresh, crisp air that we have now, because fall is just around the corner. Love it. I love the cool air, the birds, just everything, the quietness. I love just listening to earth, and it's beautiful. So that 30 minutes could also look like journaling. Now, I told you guys to bring a journal at the beginning. So this is my journal, and I still remember the day where my coach was like, start journaling everything. I was like, nah, I have never completed a journal in my life. Just gonna say this. I literally bought this journal not even a month ago. And this thing is full. Like, if you give yourselves the ability to do this stuff, like this is all I have left in this journal out of all of that. Because I journal everything that if I'm going through a hard time, I write it down, and I write down what I'm processing and what I'm feeling. And then the next day I come back to it, and if I've released it and I've let it go, I've learned something. And so I write down the things that I've learned. I write down my accomplishments, and I get so much from this, guys. So journaling is super great. Now, there's also, you can do like gratitude journals, manifestation journals. If you are more spiritual and you do manifest, you can manifest like a boss. Sassy commented here. More is caught than taught. I love that. That's great. I'll take notes on my phone. If I don't put pen on paper every single day, now I'm going to lose my shit. Right? So there's still days where I still will go through my phone and I'll put some stuff on through my phone. But I have found that is a great release by putting pen to paper. It has been great. So like I said, my first challenge for you is to set aside 30 minutes a day for you. And you can do this if you make this a priority. When we make things a priority, we get them done. It's just like if we go out and help somebody and we don't want to do it, we made that a priority. So moms, you can make yourself a priority, because you are inside of this. You got to take care of this heart that is beating, the mind that is racing, and everything that's going on. You got to take care of you, because you're going to feel better. You're going to show up in all areas of your life, in your business, in your relationship. My dad, you're going to show up real good in your relationship, in your business, which relationship, business, that is key too. You're going to show up for your kids, and you're going to feel great. So right now you might think like, oh, really, 30 minutes a day is going to change my life. It will change your life, because I'm not the only person who talks about it. And this isn't the first time that you've heard putting 30 minutes a day for yourself is important. It is important. It could be physical exercise. If you feel like working out, work out. It is to be what you feel like doing, but it is something for you, something that is going to help you. That's why I love self-development. That's why I love reading, because it just takes me to a different space, and it takes me out of my head and all my negative thoughts, and it just puts everything into perspective. So that is the first challenge, you guys. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to journal on it. So when you do something for yourself, so whatever that 30 minutes is, I want you to comment it below. Let me know what it is. If you don't want to comment here, send me a message. Let me know what you're going to implement 30 minutes a day for yourself for, so that I can see how you're doing with it. You can let me know how you're doing with it, and we'll go from there. And then I want you to, after you do that 30 minutes, I want you to let me know how you feel after. So at the beginning, if you might have felt a little drained, a little depleted, not wanting to really do it, and then after you do it, you feel good. It's usually what happens, and it's usually just like the universe saying, are you gonna do it? Are you really gonna do it? Let's see if you're gonna do it. And then you're gonna feel great. So I want you to journal on it. I want you to let me know what it is. When we make something a priority, we get it done. Yes, it is so true. Priorities, guys. Priorities. Prioritize yourself. Please, please, please. The world needs you. You as you are, in this beautiful form, loving yourself and loving on you. So like I said, first challenge, 30 minutes aside for you. You need to journal what you're going to do, how you feel before, how you feel after. And then I want you to see how you move through this. Like if you actually stay serious about doing this every day, granted, there might be a day where you just want to hang out with your family. Do that. If that feels good for you, do that. But whatever that 30 minutes a day is for you, honor it. Honor yourself. Take care of you. This is the first day of our 3-day challenge. Tomorrow night I'm going to hop on again for day 2, and we're going to talk about boundaries and values. But tonight, that was our first challenge. So I hope that you loved this video. I hope that you took something away from it. If there's some things that you didn't take, whatever, leave the rest. Take some of it, leave the rest. But if you resonate with some of this, let me know. I wrote out a bunch of stuff, and I totally went on a different tangent, and I love that. I love it about the fact that I am super passionate about this and showing you women what self-care will do for yourself. So on that note, Stasia, thank you so much for hanging out, and everybody else that came on here and, commenting and asking questions. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here. I hope you guys are having such a fantastic night. I am at my mother-in-law's, so I'm going to go back upstairs. I'm going to fill my cup. Punny. I'm going to fill my cup back up with more coffee. Not that I need it at this hour, but I'm going to. And I'm going to visit with my family. So I hope whatever you're doing for the rest of the night is great. You feel loved. You are just doing something for you and your family. And I hope that tomorrow, I hope to hear all these, what you guys are all doing that you're setting aside 30 minutes a day for. So I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And I can't wait for day 2, you guys. Day 2 is going to be so good. It's juicy. So on that note, bye everyone.